Hi, I'm Jake. I make RPG supplements and videos about Pathfinder 2, or PF 2. I love PF 2, and Player Core 2 is just the gift that keeps on giving. So I'm going to go over all the archetypes. We're at Acrobat today. Nothing changed in Acrobat. On to Archeologist. Nothing changed in Archeologist. On to Archer. Something did change in Archer. So they updated all archetypes in regard to weapon proficiencies. So this format that I'm about to read you in Archer is in every archetype now. For the purpose of proficiency, treat any of these that are martial weapons as simple weapons and any that are advanced weapons as martial weapons. In this case, for bows and crossbow weapon groups. That's what changed in the Archer dedication. Crossbow Terror, 6th level feat in Archer, is completely different. It has the same name, and there's no sense in that, so whatever. One action, I know they just wanted to change how the ability works, because it's no longer extra damage. I'll read it to you. It's also on your screen, highlighted. One action, your skill with the crossbow strikes terror into your opponents when you threaten them with the next bolt. Interact to reload a crossbow and then attempt an intimidation check to demoralize. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to this check if you succeed at a strike with a crossbow this turn. I love that there's something in the Archer that's not just, I'm going to smack you in the face with arrows. It's a nice addition. It's welcomed. Unobstructed Shot is completely new. Level 10 feat, 2 actions. It's a flourish. Prerequisites, expert in athletics. I love this. This is totally Legolas. With a quick use of brute force, you remove an obstacle and take a calculated shot as part of the same motion. Attempt to shove or trip one adjacent creature, then make a ranged strike with a bow or crossbow you're wielding. The strike is made at the same multiple attack penalty as the shove or trip attempt, and this activity counts as one attack when calculating your multiple attack penalty. Awesome! That's just fun! So I know it's the same number of actions, but it's easier to do both. So there's going to be more versatile archers now with like moving people or making people afraid. Assassin got changed, and not in the useful ways that I hoped it would get changed. It's just changed. All right. So let's look at the Assassin dedication. Part of this was a benefit, part of it was simplifying wording. So the benefit is, your mark takes a -2 circumstance penalty to all perception checks to CQ. That's new and makes sense, because you're hiding from the fucker. Also, when attacking your mark, you have the sneak attack class feature, except it deals 1d4 precision damage. And it increases as you level. I say that that's clarifying, but really they took away all of the additional traits that your weapon gains when you're attacking your mark. I think they were just trying to go for, instead of all this complication, let's just give them the sneak attack class feature like we do all the time. So it's technically a nerf, a little one. It doesn't matter to me. Like, the assassinate ability wasn't improved, and that's the problem for me. It's still not awesome. Now I'll go over all the changes in Bastion. I'm done. Yeah, there weren't any. Beastmaster. There's a slight change. So, alright. With Mature Beastmaster Companion, when it specifies how the independent action a companion has, it can do the independent action at any point during your turn as long as you aren't currently taking an action. If it does, that's all the actions it gets that round. You can't command it later. That verbiage is repeated for pets and companions throughout this book. They did get something new. That's Swift Guardian. It's a 6th level feat, free action, has the concentrate trait, prerequisites call companion. You're going to have that anyway. Trigger. You roll initiative. When danger appears, you quickly send away your active companion and call in a different animal ally. You use Call Companion. The new animal companion typically arrives in the same location as the one that departed, though the GM might adjust this depending on the circumstances and speeds of the animals. This is just silly. It should be magical. They just happen. It's poof. If you have Lead the Pack, you can swap one of your 2 active companions for an inactive companion. That's awesome. Okay, so, handy. That's it. They've done a lot of simplifying, like, quality of life things in Player Core 2, and it's great. I'm glad they've done it so much. And that's all that's changed in Beastmaster. Blessed One, all the changes, done. Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter dedication, they changed one thing. They added at the end of the dedication that if you already have Hunt Prey when you get this dedication, you gain the Monster Hunter feat in addition to the other benefits of this feat, the dedication. So, it's fun, it's cool, it's a little bit more helpful. It's not a huge change, really. Now, Tools of the Trade, level 4 feat. With all the Tools of the Trade, the Bola, Sap, and Whip, you deal an additional 1d4 precision damage with these weapons when using them to make non-lethal strikes against your prey while they're off guard to you. That's just a straight buff. Is a little one, but it's a benefit. And, I don't know, Bounty Hunter kind of needs more benefits. Cavalier. They really only changed one thing, and that's just clarifying how the independence ability of the Mount Companion works. If it takes the independent action, that's all the actions against that round. You can't command it later, just like the Beastmaster, just like Companions in Player Core 2. Cavalier was untouched. Celebrity is the same. They're still quite full of themselves. Dandy is also the same, which is a little bit boring, but Dandy was already pretty freaking powerful. Dual Weapon Warrior had one change, and I think it's a typo. So, level 4 feat, dual weapon reload, one action. I am reading the entirety of it. See if you can tell what's missing. So it's one action. You carry your ammunition in a way that allows you to reload while holding two weapons. While you're wielding two one-handed weapons, each in a different hand, you don't need a free hand to reload a one-handed ranged weapon you're wielding. That's it. What's the action? What action are you taking here? You're reading dual weapon reload. So they might need to roll out of that because it doesn't actually say you spend the action to reload two weapons, but obviously that's what you do. Duelist has not changed, and that's pathetic. They really needed more options for their dueling arts feats. They just need more. Or the student of the dueling arts just needs to change a little bit. It's just not all that great. Eldritch Archer got something to help crossbow users, which does seem to be a focus for PAIZO and the ranged attack kings in Pathfinder 2 with the remaster. So they got an ability called Eldritch Reload. It's a free action, level 10 feat. Requirements. Your last action this turn was to make an Eldritch shot, cast a spell from a spell slot, or activate a piece of magical ammunition. You integrate your talent from magic into your use of reloading weapons. You interact to reload a weapon you are wielding. It works for anything. It doesn't have to be a crossbow, but most bows don't require that, so it helps crossbows. Familiar Master. It's the Familiar Master. It's still the Familiar Master. Nothing changed. But the Familiar's got a couple new abilities, and we got a new Familiar, so the Familiar Master didn't come away with nothing, because they have Familiars, and Familiars are best friend ever. Gladiator was altered slightly. The one majorest change, which makes the Gladiator playable now, is... I'm going to read the dedication. Level 2 feat. Prerequisites, impressive performance. You know how to turn combat into a form of entertainment. You gain the additional lore general feat for gladiatorial lore. If you are already trained in gladiatorial lore, you also become trained in a lore skill of your choice. I'll tell you when I get to the new part. At the start of a combat encounter, if you have spectators, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to your character level for 1 minute, and you can roll performance for your initiative. If there are sapient creatures observing... This is the new part. If there are sapient creatures observing a combat encounter, and these onlookers are neither engaged in the combat themselves nor directly assisting any participants, the combatants have spectators. They no longer have to be unaligned. Like, they can be cheering for your side, that's fine. If they're not, like, throwing you weapons or attacking your enemy, you have spectators, which makes this useful. Sure, in niche situations it was useful anyway, but now it's like... it's more flexible, and I like that they just removed restrictions in this remaster. So level 6 feat changed its wording a lot, so I'm going to read the whole thing. Performative weapons training. You're skilled with flashy weapons and can use them to great effect. You have familiarity with the bowstaff, dueling, cape, spike, chain, sword, cane. Here's the new parts. Trident, war flail, and the whip that they had before. For the purposes of proficiency, you treat these as simple weapons. The GM may add other martial weapons to this list as appropriate for the world or region you are playing in. Whenever you get a critical hit with one of these weapons, you get its critical specialization effect. So slight benefits there. It's not all that impressive to me, but then again, I don't like playing this combat style. It's not my thing. So you gladiators out there, you got critical specialization effects, great. And a couple more weapons added to that. Useful. But mostly the spectator redefinition is great. It's amazing. Herbalist. I mentioned this before. They changed. They did, technically. So the Herbalist dedication, the level 2 feat, they gain the advanced alchemy benefits, which have changed. So they gain those. You can use advanced alchemy to create 4 alchemical consumables with the healing trait, though the number is reduced by 2 if you didn't make your daily preparations in the wilderness. That is the only change besides advanced herbalism, which just relates to getting more herbal items. The 6th level herbalist feat, endemic herbs, changed a little, which is overall a slight buff. I'm just not sure how often it's going to come up. So the way it was worded before is, during your daily preparations, you find medicinal plants endemic to your location. Until your next preparations, you can spend an additional batch of herbs to add a benefit to an item you create with your herbalism. Now it says, the herbal items you create use medicinal plants endemic to your location. When a creature consumes one of your herbal items, that creature gains the benefit matching the location where you created that item. It doesn't say it has to be your daily preparations. It's just if you made it in that location. So it even applies to just having downtime and creating these things. So this is actually useful for downtime activity. You can say, oh, while I was having this month of downtime, I accumulated a lot of roots and herbs from swamps. So I can really easily remove bleed damage. That's a nice perk. Overall, Herbalist got screwed because alchemy changed. So, like, the poultice preparation, it is still technically a benefit, but if you have a familiar, you can deliver item with the familiar, and it works better in combat. It's more functionally useful. You can send the familiar off to deliver the thing instead of having to walk up to somebody and apply a poultice, which you could do anyway. You just spend the action to give them the elixir. It really... Herbalists need another little bump, because they're not competing with alchemists anymore. Linguist. It really only changed in its language, which I find funny. So it clarified stuff. So I'm going to read all of Spot Translate, because it now clarifies how exactly it works with linguistic effects. You bridge a language gap, repeating the message in a different language that you know. Choose a language you understand to repeat the message in. The new part is, the linguistic effect counts as both languages rather than only the languages the triggering creature is using. And they also added, as normal, you can translate normal speech without Spot Translate and without using a reaction, but this reaction allows you to apply the benefits of translation to spells and actions such as command or demoralize. So it's more clear about how it can be used. Good. Cool. The language archetype got clarified. That's good. The Marshal's aura is no longer 10 feet. It's 15, but you can't increase it. So previously it was 10, and on a critical success on one of your rolls, it could be doubled to 20. Doesn't happen anymore. It's just 15, which is in alignment with the champion's aura and other auras. And because of that, the critical success options on these rolls went away because that's all it did that was different from success. Martial Artist. No changes. Path of Iron is still awesome. Mauler. There's a couple changes. So, Mauler dedication. This first part wasn't changed. You specialize in melee weapons that require 2 hands. You have familiarity with all melee weapons that require 2 hands to wield or have the 2-handed trait. The part that changed was, for the purposes of proficiency, you treat any of these that are martial weapons as simple weapons and any that are advanced weapons as martial weapons. So it's more in alignment with the proficiencies of other classes and archetypes. Also in Mauler, in Shoving Sweep, previously, when you shoved the creature, it gets to continue moving after the shove. Now, if you critically succeed at your check, they stop moving. That's cool. It's not really clear, so I'm just going to highlight, well, verbally, because it's already highlighted on your screen. I'm going to highlight that the line that matters is, unless you critically succeed at your check, the creature continues its movement after the shove. So if you critically succeed at your check, then it doesn't continue its movement after the shove. I added that last part for emphasis. So obviously that's just much better. You can just stop people in their tracks. Medic. Did not get any updates, but this picture is amazing. It's a Plague Doctor rat. I love this thing. Okay. Pirates actually got improved. I won't say they're amazing, but they can be used more effectively now. There are a variety of little tweaks here. All right, so first of all, for additional feats, it gained Antagonize and You're Next, which kind of makes sense because they're swashbucklers. They're pirates. That they should be swashbucklers, so they got some swashbuckler feats. The Pirate Dedication. What they changed was you no longer just get sailing lore. You can instead get it for a specific coastal city you have a connection to. And instead of saying you ignore the effects of difficult terrain or uneven ground caused by the deck of a ship, it's unstable ground, such as the deck of a ship. So yes, it's still specific, but now it can be used in more areas. Talk to your GM. Your mileage may vary. Now, level 4 feat for pirate combat training has been tweaked in several ways. So it now gives you either the combat climber or underwater marauder skill feat, even if you don't meet its prerequisites. That's just free. You didn't have that before. It has a slight nerf with the weapon proficiencies of hatchet, rapier, scimitar, and whip. Just the same statement that I said before. For the purposes of proficiency, you treat any of these weapons as simple weapons. And they also added, at 5th level, whenever you get a critical hit with one of these weapons, you get its critical specialization effect. So overall, pirate combat training is just better. It's more functional, more useful now. It's worth taking. Rope Runner. I'm really glad they changed it, but it's not a major change. So, level 4 feat. Same prerequisites, trained in acrobatics and athletics. You run and climb across ropes and rigging almost as easily as on the ground. You gain a climb speed of 15 feet, but only when it's not just a ship's rigging. When climbing ropes and similar objects. What's similar to a rope? I don't know, tentacles, vines, really long snakes. And also, whenever you succeed at an athletics check to climb or an acrobatics check to balance, you get a critical success instead. That's separate by itself. You don't have to be running on these ropes. So whenever you succeed at an athletics check to climb or an acrobatics check to balance, you get a critical success instead. Cool. And you aren't off guard while climbing or balancing on a rope or similar object, like, snakes. So it's not just ropes anymore. It's a little bit more functional. I think that's all we can ask for from the much maligned pirate. Walk the plank is also changed. It's no longer, when you use it, the target doesn't become temporarily immune to walk the plank for a day. It's 10 minutes. Which is a lot more useful, obviously, and makes way more sense. Like, you can still just, go shove them out on a plank later that day. Thank you for letting me borrow your balls of eyes. And if you're a patron, thank you for being here and taking care of the channel every month. If you guys want to see the playlist for Player Core 2 here, or Howl the Wild here, there's lots of Howl the Wild videos, but there's still many of the Player Core 2 videos as well. So, thanks again. See you soon. Bye.